Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmate. I'm Maria Virginia Batchar from Group 8 at ang aming report ay patungkol sa Agrarian Reform. Ang ating tatalakayin ay napunta sa akin ay dalawa sa presidente na nagpatupad ng Agrarian Reform. Si President Carlos P. Garcia at si President Diosdado Macapagal. Si President Carlos P. Garcia, pinagpatuloy lamang niya ang ginawang law ni President Ramon Magsaysay. Wala siyang pinasang law patungkol sa Agrarian Reform dahil mas tinuon niya ang sarili niya, tinuon niya yung pansin niya sa mga maliliit na business dito sa Pilipinas, lalo na ang mga Pinoy, lalo na ang mga Filipino businessman, upang mas lumawak pa ang ekonomiya natin at ang mas maghari dito sa Pilipinas is mga Pilipinong businessman. Ngayon po, pumunta na tayo kay President Diosdado Macapagal. He is known as the father of Agrarian Reform. Why? Kasi siya ang nag-enact nung law na pinatupad ng unang mga administrasyon at binigyan niya ito ng pangalawang bill. Kumbaga, hindi niya pinalitan, kundi kinontinue lang niya yung unang bill ng Agrarian Reform. Ito yung sinasabi, second stage agricultural leasehold. Pero ito ang title ng bill na kanyang ipinasa at enacted. Agricultural Land Reform Code or RA number 3844 was enacted. This was considered to be the most comprehensive piece of agrarian reform legislation and was a major land reform law ever enacted in the country that time. So siguro hanggang ngayon, ito pa rin yung kay President Diosdado Macapagal pa rin ang pinaka major land reform law sa panahon niya at sa hanggang panahon ngayon. Because of this, he was considered as the father of agrarian reform dahil sa ginawa niyang reform na yon, dahil siya'y enact niya ang bill na yon, nag-focus siya sa farmers. Kaya siya ang ginawang father of agrarian reform. Ang Agricultural Land Reform Code or RA number 3844 ay merong 11 chapters at 173 sections. Kung iisa-isahin po natin yan, magtatagal po tayo. Kaya kumuha po ko ng kaunti para malaman natin kung ano yung nakapaloob sa RA number 3844 at 11 chapters at 173 sections. However, the Landed Congress did not provide effort to come up with a separate bill to provide funding for its implementation. Hindi nila in-implement sa buong Pilipinas. Meron pa rin pala nung panahon ng mga una-una nating presidente ang mga hadlang sa mga gusto nilang mangyari sa Pilipinas. Gusto nilang magandang mangyari sa Pilipinas. Kundi piling probinsya lamang po ang kanilang napatupad ng RA number 3844. Ito ang mga probinsya ng hindi pa siya totally na pagbibigay ng lupa. Piloted pa lang siya. Kumbaga, ano lang, konti pa lang ang mapagbibigyan na farmers, hindi lahat. The act was piloted in the provinces of Pangasinan, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Camarines Sur, at Misamis Oriental. Itong 5 probinsyang to, napakaswerte nila. Napakaswerte ng farmers kasi sila yung na bigyan ng mga lupa para sakahin, para maging sa kanila. It acquired a total of 18,247.06 hectares or 99.29% of a land. Of the total scope of 18,377.05 hectares. Kulang pa rin kasi hindi lahat na ibigay. Meron pa rin 0.71%. Saan kayo napunta yun? Pero hindi na natin yun hahalongkatin. Ang beneficiary ng farmers na beneficiary ng benefied ay 7,466 farmers beneficiary ayon sa BLAD or BLAD-DAR official records. Napakarami pa rin ito, pero masasabi natin kulang pa rin ang mga, kung tutusin ngayon pala, marami na kasing farmers ngayon. Pero noon, napakaswerte nitong 7,466 farmers na nabigyan ng mga lupa, libreng lupa na sasakahin. Ngayon, pumunta naman po tayo sa RA number 3844, yung nakapaloob doon sa section na bill na yon. The code declared that it was state policy to establish owner cultivationship and the economic family size farm as the basis of the Philippines agriculture, and as a consequence divert landlord capital in agriculture to industrial development. To achieve a dignified existence for the small farmers free from pernicious institutional restraints and practices. To create a truly viable social and economic structure in the agriculture conducive productivity and the higher farm incomes. To apply all labor equally and without discrimination. So, discriminate pa rin pala ang mga farmers noong unang panahon. At hanggang ngayon, nadi-discriminate pa rin. To apply all labor equally and without discrimination to both industrial and agricultural wage earners. To provide a more vigorous and systematic land resettlement programs and public land distribution, and to make the small farmers more independent, self-reliant, and responsible citizens, and a source of genuine strength in our democratic society. So, nakapaloob lang naman sa code na yon ang ikabubuti ng mga farmers natin, ikabubuti nating lahat, at ikauunlad ng mga Pilipino. Gusto lamang pala ni President Macapagal na magkaroon ng pantay-pantay na pagkakakilala sa mga agricultural at wage earners. Kasi hindi porket farmer ka, farmer ako, tapos ikaw nagtatrabaho ka sa opisina, for example, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na farmer ka lang. Hindi ka nagtatrabaho. Wala kang pinag-aralan. Ako, nasa opisina ako, ganyan ganito. Pero, ang pinaka foundation pala natin is sila, mga farmers. Kasi sila ang nagbibigay pagkain sa ating lahat. Sana maintindihan ng iba yon, ng mga nakakataas sa atin. Gusto lamang nila ng pantay-pantay na pagkakakilala sa mga farmers at mga may pinag-aralan na mas mataas pa. Pero ang pagiging farmers, pinag-aaralan din yan. Kasi hindi ka naman magiging isang farmer na hindi mo alam kung ano yung ginagawa mo. Magtanim-tanim ka lang. Hindi naman ganun ang pagiging farmer. Kasi ang pagiging farmer, nasa puso. Sinasa puso yan. Hindi yung bara-bara ka lang. Yun yung nakapaloob sa RA number 3844 na ngayon hindi na siya na-implement. Sa tingin ko hindi naman na siya na-implement kasi sabi dito to apply labor equally without discrimination, to make farmers more independent. Yes. Self-reliant and responsible citizen. Yes, they are. Sasabi kong ito hanggang ngayon nandito pa rin yon. Kasi napakagaling nila kahit na napakababa ng presyo ng bigas. Patuloy pa rin silang nagtatanim para sa atin na hindi na bumibili ng bigas. Sila nagpapagod for 4 months. Pero saludo po ako sa mga farmers. Ngayon, ito naman ang nakalagay dito. And in pursuance of those policy, establish the following. Number 1. An agricultural leasehold system to replace all existing shared tenancy system in agriculture. An agricultural leasehold system to replace all existing shared tenancy system in agriculture. A declaration of rights for agricultural labor. Declaration of rights for agricultural labor. An authority for acquisition and equitable distribution of agricultural land. An institution to finance the acquisition and distribution of agricultural land. A machinery to extend credit and similar assistance to agriculture. A machinery to provide marketing, management, and to other technical services to agriculture. A unified administration for formulating and implementing projects of land reform. Number 8, an expanded program of land capability survey, classification, and registration. And number 9, a judicial system to decide issues arising under this code and other related laws and regulations. So, gusto kasi ng law na to na bigyan ng extend na tulong para sa mga farmers. Katulad ng nakalagay dito na a machinery to provide marketing, management, and other technical services to agriculture. Technical services means kailangan nila ng tractor, kailangan nila ng kahit anong technical na magagamit nila sa pagpapalay, ibibigay ng government. They have the authority na magkaroon nun kasi meron silang sariling lupa. Kaya pero ang nakalagay lamang dito is piloted lamang yon. Hindi ko alam kung hanggang ngayon ay napapatupad kasi iba na rin ang ating mga issues. Pero ang issues ngayon ng mga farmers, mga landowners, ay ang baba ng palay. Papakahirap sila para sa wala. So, yun lamang ang nagawang bill, nagawang law ni President Diosdado Macapagal sa Agrarian. Siya ang nagpasa ng pinaka magandang enact ng Agrarian reform sa Pilipinas. Kaya nga siya ay tinawag na Father of Agrarian Reform. Mabuhay ang mga farmers. Salamat po.
My report is all about Marcos Land Reform Program Operation Land Transfer. Proclamation number 1081, September 21, 1972 was proclaimed Land Reform Area, and simultaneously the Agrarian Reform Program was decreed. President Marcos declared martial law in 1972. The Congress passed Republic Act number 6657 or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. Nagsimula pong i-declare yung martial law noong 7:17 p.m. on September 23, 1972. President Ferdinand Marcos announced that he had placed the entirety of the Philippines under martial law, which introduced the program with the same name, Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program or CARP. So, ano po yung CARP po? Ang ano po nun is Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. Yun po yung CARP. So, Agrarian Reform as President Corazon Aquino invention Agrarian Reform to be the centerpiece of her administration's social legislation, which proved.
A pleasant day to each and every one. My name is Rona Di Rosario, and I'm here now to introduce to you the given report to me. And it's all about the administration of President Fidel V. Ramos. When President Fidel V. Ramos formally took over in 1992, his administration came face-to-face with public who have lost confidence in the Agrarian Reform Program. His administration committed to the vision, fairer, faster, and more meaningful implementation of Agrarian Reform Program. President Fidel V. Ramos enacted the following laws. Republic Act Number 1781 in 1995 amended certain provisions of RA 6657 and exempted fish ponds imposed from the coverage of CARP. Republic Act Number 7905, 1995 strengthened the implementation of the CARP. And Executive Order Number 363 in 1997, the limits of types of lands that may be converted by setting conditions under which limits the type of lands that may converted by setting conditions under which specific categories of agricultural land are either absolutely non-negotiable for conversion. Republic Act Number 8435 in 1987, Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act AFMA plugged the legal loopholes in land of conversion. And the last one is the Republic Act 1832 in 1988. Agrarian Reform Fund Bill provided an additional 50 billion pesos of CARP and extended its in implementation for other 100 years. Hey everyone, it's me again, Rona De Rosario, and I'm here again to introduce to you my second report, which is President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo Administration. The Agrarian Reform Program under the Arroyo administration is anchored on the vision to make the country's economically viable for the Filipino family by building partnership and promoting social equity and new economic opportunities towards lasting peace and sustainable rural development. And it's all about the land tenure improvement. DAR will remain vigorous in the implementing land acquisition and distribution component of CARP. The DAR will improve land tenure system through land distribution and leasehold and provision of support services. CARP not only involves the distribution of lands but also included package of support services which includes credit assistance, extension services, irrigation facilities, roads, bridges, marketing facilities, and training and technical support programs. And let's tackle about the infrastructure projects. DAR will transform the Agrarian Reform Communities, ARC, an area focused and integrated delivery of support services into rural economic zone that will help in the creation of job opportunities in the countryside. And the last one is the Kalahi R zone. These zones consist of one or municipalities with a concentration of our population to achieve greater than agro-productivity. Thank you.
Right, yes, good afternoon. Once again, my name is Clarence Yuko F. Opina, and on this video, I'll be reporting regarding the CARP, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. Okay, so Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, it tends to escalate the agricultural productivity, the development of equity, as well as the overall growth and development of the rural present population. And CARPER, on the other hand, is the program extension with reforms, which extends the deadline of distributing agricultural land to farmers. Alright, so agrarian reform is as far as right in land reform. Agrarian reform doesn't mean securing farmlands for landless farmers, but it also encompasses all programs designed to bring about improvement in all the institutions surrounding farm life. This means remedying not only the defect in the distribution and use of land, but also and especially the accompanying human relations regarding land, including economic, social, and political relations. It concerned not only with the farmer and the land he turns, but also with the community he lives in. Alright, so there are number of agencies involved in the implementation of CARP. The leading ones are the DAR and DNR, Department of Agrarian Reform and Department of Environment and Natural Resources. They are in charge of the identification and distribution of covered land and are aptly called carpable. Alright, so what are the beneficiaries? Landless farmers, including agricultural leases, tenants, as well as the regular, seasonal, and other farm workers, at least 15 years old, a resident of the barangay, where the land holding educated, and owned no more than 3 hectares of agricultural land, are candidates for potential beneficiaries of CARP or CARPER. Alright, so now let's talk about what does CARP or CARPER provide. Estimated 7.8 million has of
land is covered by CARP. That's a huge sum of land available for use by our farmers as of December 31, 2013. The government has acquired and distributed 6.9 million hectares of land equated to 88% of total land subjected to CARP. And this leaves a little more than 900 hectares or 22% of hectares of land left to be distributed. So, as mentioned before, land acquisition is not the only thing that CARP provides, and the provision of support services is an inseparable component in the success of CARP development objective. CARP has Alright, so next thing is the three core programs of CARP. Alright, so three core programs of CARP. The first of which is the land reform part. The land tenure improvement through the acceleration of the land acquisition and distribution and leasehold operation. The program beneficiaries development. The second one, this is the side that provides support services to beneficiaries to increase farm production, household income, and promote sustainable rural development. It aids in mainstreaming farmers in the rural economy and transforming them into responsible and successful rural entrepreneurs to contribute to national economic growth beneficiaries, and to be provide for these beneficiaries to be able to provide support service such as credit, farmer cooperatives, community development, marketing support, training programs, access to various economic physical infrastructure, facilities, and much more. Alright, and the third and the last component of CARP is the Agrarian Justice Delivery, which provides free legal assistance to beneficiaries, particularly on matters involving the implementation of agrarian reform laws and swift resolution of agrarian cases and settlement of the conflicts. Alright, so now let's talk about how CARP was implemented. Right, so there are actually two basic schemes under this program by which beneficiaries could have security of land tenure. The first scheme is the direct transfer of land acquisition distribution, or the direct transfer of ownership of the land to the agrarian reform beneficiaries, or land acquisition and distribution. And the other is being a leasehold operation. So the first one is the direct transfer, and the second one is the leasehold operations. Alright, so on land acquisition and distribution, it involves the redistribution of a carpable land regardless of the crops produced to qualified farmers and farm workers subject to their attention, limit, and just compensation to the landowners. A notice of coverage, or NOC, as issued the land acquisition to the respective landowners agencies, identify the beneficiaries as well as the land question. So the agencies do their survey to this land and do the paperwork for the landowner's compensation for the acquired land. And after the survey, if the After the survey, if the beneficiary is eligible, the title of the land will be awarded and registered to that particular beneficiary. Alright, so let's talk about the leasehold operation now. Leasehold operation, on the other hand, functions as if the farmer's rent of the carpable lands were not officially acquired to the other means. These and essentially leasehold agreements or contracts between the landowners and the tenant tillers emerged by DNR, or Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Okay, so to make it short, CARP or the CARPOR aims to improve the standard of living of landless farmers and at the same time develop the agricultural sector of the Philippines, spearheaded by the two agencies, which are the Department of Agrarian Reform and Department of Environment and Natural Resources, focusing on land tenure improvement program beneficiaries, development, and agrarian justice delivery. So, CARP is actually the hope of every farmers to be successful with the farming. And farming or farmers are very important in our community. Why? Because if there is no farmer, there will be no crops, there will be no food to feed 9 million Filipinos. So where do we gonna get our food to eat without this, right? Without these farmers. Right, so I just hope that farmers will be given justice, especially now, wherein crops are being sold on a cheaper way. Imagine those trending plans on social media, plans wherein we can just get everywhere. They just it is plans wherein less effort grown up plans. However, crops are being planted by our farmers, and they're not even getting justice on the sacrifices that they are doing. Especially every one of us here in Mataram knows that farming is the most number one source of income of most people here in Mataram. And I know that some of us are witnessing how cheaper the farmers' crops or products are being sold, right? So I hope that justice will be prevailed regarding with the agrarian reform with the help of CARP. And that's all with my report with this CARP. Thank you and have a good day.
So nabanggit na po ng mga iba kong kagrupo kung ano nga ba yung RA 6657 or ang CARP or ang Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. So, meaning, it's talk about more inland. Or it focuses to those farmers. We all know that farmers they gave their lives para lang mayroon sila may pakain sa kanilang pamilya. Sila yung naghihirap sa ilalim ng araw. Sila yung nakayuko maghapon para lang magtanim ng palay. At sila din yung nag-harvest. Sila yung nagpapagod na mag-harvest nito para sa ganun meron silang may pangkustos sa pamilya or may pangtawid gutom sa araw-araw. So, example sa amin sa Pakalat, maraming taniman sa Pakalat, maraming farm sa Pakalat, at marami ding mga tao doon, ang ikinabubuhay ay ang pagsasaka. Maraming mga magulang ang magsasaka sa amin. So, ang nakakalungkot lang dito, marami ring mga kabataan ngayon ang huminto sa pag-aaral dahil sa pandemic. Dahil wala na rin silang mapagkukunan ng pangangailangan sa araw-araw. So, ibang mga kabataan doon, mas pinili na lang muna nila ang pagsasaka para sa ganun, meron silang pantulong o pansuporta sa kanilang pamilya at isinantabi na lang muna nila ang kahalagahan ng pag-aaral. So, yun po. So, ngayon po, let's proceed naman po sa major features of CARP. So, number 1, it provides for the coverage of all agricultural lands regardless of crops produced or tenurial status of the tiller. So, meaning, nagbibigay ito para sa saklaw ng lahat ng mga lupang agrikultura, ano man ang mga pananim na ginawa o katayuan ng tenurial ng magsasaka. Ang ibig sabihin po ng tenurial is, sila po yung may pinangahawakan na sa kanila po talaga yung lupang sinasaka. And second, it recognizes as beneficiaries of the program of all workers in the land, given that they are landless and willing to till the land. So meaning, kinikilala nito bilang mga nakikinabang sa programa ang lahat ng mga manggagawa sa lupa na ibinigay na sila ay walang lupa ay handang magsaka ng lupa. So ito po yung mga taong kaya po nilang magsaka or may kakayanan sila magsaka. Subalit kulang sila sa lupa. Wala silang lupa na pagtatamnan kung ano nga pagtatamnan ng mga gusto nilang itanim. So itong program na ito is they can provide kaya nilang tumulong sa mga nangangailangan para lang makapagtanim sila ng nais nilang itanim. At nagbibigay din ito ng kaayusan upang matiyak ang tenurial security ng mga manggagawa sa bukid at tulad ng pagpipilian sa pamamahagi ng stock, pag-aayos ng pag-upa at pagbabahagi ng kita. At ang kagandahan sa programang ito, nagbibigay sila o naghahatid sila ng mga serbisyong sumusuporta sa mga nakikinabang sa programa. So after that, let's proceed naman sa components of CARP. So first is land distribution. It measures such as the division of large properties into smaller ones. It is how land ownership is distributed among owners, with rich owning all and poor owning little. So yon, ang ibig sabihin na lamang po nito, yung mga mayayamang tao o yung mga may kakayahang bumili ng mga kalupaan, maaari nilang akupin ito. Samantalang yung mga mahirap na hindi ganong afford yung kung sino pa yung mga mahirap na yung manggagawa, sila pa yung makakakuha ng konting lupa na pagtatamnan nila. So next is leasehold operation. It is an operation. Lease is a contract that allows for the use of an asset but does not convey ownership rights of the asset. So meaning ito yung mga future rent payments. Sila po yung mga magsasaka na walang sakahan pero may kakayahan sila magtanim. Kaya ang gagawin nila, magrerenta sila ng lupa at doon nila itatanim yung mga nais silang itanim. And after that, kapag nagkaroon na sila nakapag-ani na sila, doon nila mababayaran yung rent na pinag-upahan nila o ang lupang ginamit nila. So next is the production and profit sharing. So it was provide direct or indirect payments to employees in the situation of business. So sa business, it was provide direct or indirect payments. Pero sa CARP naman, ang best example dito is, ikaw na nag-rent sa sakahan, kung may mataas kang kita, you need to give additional. So parang ganito lang yan. Ikaw, may pangtanim ka, pero wala kang lupa. So, meaning mag-hire ka or mag-rent ka sa ibang may kakayanan na mag-provide sa'yo. So, kung naging maganda yung production ng crops mo, naging maganda yung production ng kita mo, ikaw na nag-rent sa pinagrentahan mo, parang kailangan mo ding dagdagan yung pagbabayad mo kasi hindi magiging productive yung tanim mo kung hindi dahil sa kanila. So parang ganun, parang utang na loob kasi naging maganda yung production mo. So you need to add additional pay to sa pinagrentahan mo. So next is stock distribution option, which would allow landowners to distribute the stock shares of the land to the farmers instead of actual land. So it is the right to buy a specific product. So parang ganito yun. Yung stock distribution option, halimbawa, may matagal nang nagre-rent sa'yo. So instead of land yung ibigay mo sa kanya, or yung property na land na ibibigay mo sa kanya, parang ang ibibigay mo na lang sa kanya is mga stock distribution option or yung mga product. Halimbawa na lang yung nagtanim yung nag-rent sa'yo. Para magpo-provide ka ng pang-abono, yung mga pang-spray, parang mga ganun. Pero, instead of actual land or lupa yung ibibigay mo sa kanya, parang mga products na lang. Para sa ganun, makatulong din naman sa mga farmers na nag-rent sa'yo. And last is commercial farms deferment. The postponement of coverage under CARP of lands utilized for large-scale agricultural production. It is the commercial farmers produce their crops to sell them in the marketplace. So, ibig sabihin na lamang po nito, kapag nag-harvest ka na, yung hinarvest mo, you need to endorse it to the marketplace para naman mabenta mo yung pinagpaguran mo. Kailangan mong i-endorse ito sa mga may kakayahang bumili ng product mo or nung crops na pinaghirapan mo. Nang sa ganun, malaman mo kung ano yung halaga niya. Kumbaga, kapag in-endorse mo ito and kapag nabenta mo ito, doon mo makikita yung kahalagahan ng pagod mo. So, yun lamang po.